A lot of the time I get asked the question, what is IEMT? What happens? And how do they make changes? And what is it that you do? And obviously people are skeptical because they're looking at me and I'm saying, all you have to do is connect with a memory or an emotion and I move your eyes around. And they're going, well, how does that work? The straight answer is I don't actually know. And even the neuroscientists are struggling with that. So I'm not going to presume to try to impose that on you. All I can tell you is there are various access points of how your eyes are moving. So across there, a lot of that is auditory sensation, and then you've got memory up to the right for most people, creative up to the left, the emotional sides are down at the bottom here. That's as much as I could tell any client when they come to me. I wanted to do a little video to talk about how the sessions are structured. And in the first session, I deal with all those unwanted memories, feelings, traumas, anxiety, try to find the roots of all of those. Well, we use IEMT to help us find that. And what happens is once you connect with the memory and I move the eyes around, what effectively happens is the memory becomes less vivid. You're able to desensitize from it. So all those times where you're getting hijacked, or I call it it's like being kidnapped and driven off in a white van by your emotions and your feelings and your memories, and you can't seem to break away from it. Well, those are all the things that we address in the first session. So for example, when people come to me, I've had all sorts of different sorts of clients, paramedics, ex-war veterans, people who've had horrendous accidents, people who've had sudden deaths in the family, people who've been traumatized. And then I've got people who've got phobias and are really worried about certain things. I've got people who are just anxious all the time and they don't actually understand why. Well, that first session works on the why and when did it start. That's what we're looking for. But the conscious mind isn't always very good at finding those times, and IEMT helps me to access the unconscious and to take you back to when you first felt that way. So that's what the first session does. And generally speaking, people leave after the first session or come offline after the first session, and they feel a massive sense of relief. They're exhausted. It can be uncomfortable, I'm not going to lie, but it's the sort of good pain, a bit like having a massage. You know that someone's putting pain on it and it's temporary and then it'll release. And once they've worked on the first memory and they feel the difference, they're sort of going, right, come on, keep going, keep going. I then do a check-in the day after and a check-in halfway between the first and second session. They need to be booked a week apart because they work together, and it's very important both sessions are seen through. And the second session is all about the client's identity. When someone's been traumatized or is suffering from anxiety, they lose a lot of who they are, and a lot of that anxiety and trauma starts to define their behavior and define significantly how they see themselves. So that second session is all about them letting go of all the negativity around their own view of themselves. It helps to realign them so that they can respond differently to other people. Because people with anxiety, PTSD, it exacerbates itself as rage, fear. This is what anxiety does, and so they feel like everyone is creating something in them. They have made me feel like, when actually they haven't. It's the client themselves who has made them feel like that because of their response to someone else. So the second session is all about desensitizing that person to other people's actions and giving them perspective and getting them back behind the wheel of their own emotions, basically, so that they're driving their own bus and they don't feel like everybody else is driving their bus for them. The third session I do really is like a check-in. It's just making sure that we've got everything. So that's at the end of the second week. And that's basically after session 2, I send my clients back into their life to see how they're responding, to see how they're feeling, to see if anything else is still bothering them, in which case we pick that up on the third session. And I help people to learn how to protect the work we've done by giving them strategies and tools on how to move forward into their life. And it's at that stage then that we discuss whether they want me to keep holding their hand, keep supporting them, or if they're fine. Because very often people are coming to get rid of that, but this is ongoing. They've got something else going on that they still need help with. And, the majority of them stay on with me. There's absolutely no obligation. So that's a little bit about the way I work and what the first 3 sessions would look like for any new client. So I hope that's cleared up any questions. If you've got any other questions, you know where I am. You can get in touch with me via Facebook. And don't forget, guys, I do the Facebook Lives 10 a.m. every Monday and Thursday morning. And if you want to come and see me one-to-one, I am booked up generally about 4 to 6 weeks in advance. But all it takes to get you on your way is 3 sessions, 2 weeks, and 1 brave message. Bye for now.